Hello there guys and welcome, it is Niran here and today it is time for me to bring you the State of Formula 1 part number 2. Now if you're wondering why this is part number 2, about midway through 2015 towards the end of 2015 I did a video on this channel giving my thoughts about Formula 1 in its current state and was pretty damning about it because it was extremely boring at the time. Today we're going to be discussing some slightly different issues on the back of an extremely impressive and very entertaining Australian Grand Prix. The action in the immediate sense is not really the main topic of discussion here. The main topic of discussion is Formula 1 itself, and it's a bit of a shambles. Let's be honest, it is a bit of a shambles. Now this week, you'll have probably had to have been living under a rock to not know that there were two big changes happening in Formula 1 off the track. One on the track and one off the track. And the first of which is the fact that the new qualifying system, the new elimination-style qualifying system, is going to be retained, unchanged, for Bahrain. Now, this is despite all of the teams, I think barring Force India, all of the drivers and all of the fans deciding, and all journalists everywhere deciding, actually, this isn't very good. This is not a very good idea, and it's just a little bit on the boring side. Which is fine, you know. At least they tried something. In reality, not entirely sure why they decided that qualifying was the main issue out of a race weekend. But we'll gloss over that because obviously qualifying has been very competitive over the last 3 or 4 years. The odd hiccup here and there with drivers and teams deciding not to run in certain sessions, but overall, the action in qualifying with the 3 quali session system has been very good. They trialled this a new elimination style thing, which on paper actually did sound very, very good, but in the end it was a little bit too complicated and it was a bit unfair on drivers depending on where they were out on the track, because obviously if you were on a very fast lap and your counter was timing out, it didn't matter whether you were going faster or not, you were eliminated, and it mixed up the grid to a certain extent, but I think it was just, I don't think it was unfair. I think it was unfair on the small teams more than anything. I think that what they were expecting was the big teams to be caught out by it, and they weren't. They weren't at all. It was only the small teams that really got hassled by that new system. It's fine if they want to refine it, but leaving it completely unchanged for Bahrain, whereby in Q3, no one was out at the end. In the last 5 minutes, not a single car was out on the track at the end of Q3. What is that? How can F1 decide that that is a healthy qualifying system to have? For the fans watching, for the drivers participating, it's not entertaining. Formula 1 is meant to be some sort of spectacle now. That's what they're clearly trying to turn it into. And every single time they want to try and change something to make it more of a spectacle, they make it worse. Exhibit A being qualifying. And despite saying, after Australia, which was backed up by motorsport.com and the official Williams Twitter account, that, you know, the fans had spoken and that F1 had listened very quickly and that the new qualifying system was going to be got rid of for the second round. It was going to be gone instantly. And then suddenly, whichever governing body decides these things, of which I don't know, is it the FIA, is it FOM, is it the people that run the sport, is it the teams, the drivers, or Bernie Ecclestone? No one seems to know. I don't know. So we're gonna just say F1 as a grand being, but I don't actually know what governing body within Formula 1 actually makes those decisions. They then went back on the fact that they were gonna scrap the new qualifying system and decided, actually no, it's fine, we can leave it unchanged for Bahrain, even though it's a shambles. So obviously, you know, a bit of confusion here and there from the fans and the drivers. You've just decided, Formula 1, that you're going to scrap this instantly with immediate effect, and then suddenly you're just randomly bringing it back. And this is a theme of decision-making in Formula 1. Certainly this season, I've never seen a less organised sport ever. EU, any sport ever, not just motorsport, every sport. I've never seen a more disorganised decision-making system than Formula 1. It's the same as the team radios. They decided that the majority of things were going to be banned in terms of being said across team radio that would affect performance or whatever. 1 hour before the Australian Grand Prix, it's being relaxed. 1 hour. How can you expect the teams and drivers to efficiently react to news that's fundamental for the entire race when you're telling them it 1 hour beforehand? Was there seriously a meeting on the morning of the Australian Grand Prix saying, actually, you know what, you know this team radio ban that we're doing, I think we should scrap it completely and just relax it and go back to normal? It's strange. It's strange for the fans. It's an annoyance for the teams, and evidently it's an annoyance for the drivers because we had this GPDA letter come out that was written by Jenson Button, Sebastian Vettel and Alexander Wurz. And it stated that the drivers were worried that there was a lack of direction in the sport overall, and that the decision-making system in Formula 1 was completely obsolete and overall pointless, is what they were trying to get at. And they were completely right. There's this constant tinkering going on in Formula 1 where there doesn't seem to be any sort of end goal. There just seems to be a constant regulation change, an evolving regulation book that actually isn't affecting the racing for the better, that isn't affecting the race weekend for the better, and isn't really going down well with the drivers or the fans. Every single change that seems to be made, barring, of course, the 3 compound tyre system that they've got going on. That's a great idea. Whoever came up with that, give them a pay rise. But apart from that, every decision that's been made, probably in the last 2 years of Formula 1, has been piss poor. It's been awful. And the drivers have finally come out and condemned it in pretty strong fashion. If you haven't seen the letter, I don't know if there's a link below that might show it, like a tweet or something that shows the whole letter. But if you want to go and check it out, that's fine. There'll hopefully be a link in the description, or it'll be up on the screen or something. And yeah, it was very, very condemning. And the FIA, or whoever decides these things, clearly got the letter, picked it up, and shredded it. Because the same day they decided that they were going to leave all television rights exclusively to the UK to Sky Sports. I mean, it just gets better, doesn't it? It just gets absolutely better. They can't make a decision to save their lives. The drivers and teams are getting to the point where they're going to the drivers and teams union and complaining to their own sport, actually, this isn't acceptable, we don't know what you're trying to achieve. And on the same day, they decide to make yet another controversial announcement. Now, I can understand this one, because F1 at the end of the day is a business. A business that makes no business sense whatsoever, but a business nonetheless. And they want to get a lot of money out of the system. That's just the end of the story. Sky Sports have clearly offered more money to be exclusive than Channel 4 can to provide terrestrial footage. And Sky Sports have won. It's the end of the story. It's annoying for the fans. It's a kick to the balls for the fans again. But when have F1 really ever done anything that's a direct improvement for the fans? It doesn't. It's not really a thing, is it? Really? Let's be frank about it. It's not something that F1 really focus on, or F1 actually focuses on. Yeah, at least if there's some sort of silver lining, hopefully it works in the same sense that football TV licensing works, and whereby literally every single team gets an absolute shed load of money, and in a fairly equal amount, and that leads to more competitive fields in the future. That potentially could be at least one change that benefits the entertainment of the sport. But you've got to beg the question, surely it balances with the fact that people may actually be able to watch the sport. What's the point in making the sport better if only half the people in the UK can actually watch it? Because more people watch, now this is incredible, more people watch the highlights on Channel 4 than they watch than the people that watch live coverage on Sky Sports. Higher viewing ratings for Channel 4 highlights than for live Sky Sports coverage. That, for Sky, has to be that is abysmal. That is absolutely shocking. I know you have to be subscribed to Sky Sports in order to watch it, but surely still, that is absolutely catastrophic. That is a bad stat for Sky Sports. And it's a bad stat for Formula 1. More people aren't going to be able to watch Formula 1 than are. It's all well and good making it entertaining, but if no one can watch the sport, viewer ratings are going to go down, and the interest levels are going to go down. And I posted this on Twitter to someone who was arguing the point, and fairly arguing the point, but I said to them, surely you have to balance the situation of people actually being able to watch the sport with making it entertaining. You know, people can watch football because it's on BT Sport, or it's on Sky Sports, or the FA Cup is on BBC. and Match of the Day is on BBC. At least you can watch highlights, for crying out loud, on BBC if you haven't got Sky or BT Sport. What are you meant to do? You are actually screwed if you're an F1 fan that doesn't have Sky. From 2019 onwards, you are literally screwed. So, yeah, at least we can hope that it's a television deal that profits absolutely all the teams and makes it more competitive. But what can we do when half the people in the UK can't actually watch it? So yet another controversial decision, and it leaves us really with no overall direction for the sport, no long-term goal in Formula 1. Pretty poor and obsolete decision making, the first exhibit being qualifying, and many other things. I mean, there's many other things, including team radio, all sorts of stuff, just general regulation rules, all of that sort of stuff, and a situation where even the teams and drivers are not even slightly happy with the direction that the sport is taking. So I suppose in answer to the question that is this title, The State of Formula 1 Part 2, the state of Formula 1 is pretty piss poor. At least we can take some heart from the fact the first round of the season was very entertaining. It was a very good race, but off the track, and you know, it's a shambles. It's an absolute shambles. Something has got to happen before the end of this season, otherwise Formula 1 is going to continue to be a bit of a shambles. And you see other sports, other categories of motorsport, Formula E, British touring cars, they all seem to have some sort of goal to work towards. You know, it's not constant tinkering of rules, it's just letting the teams and drivers go out there, letting the fans go out there and actually be able to A, understand what is going on, and B, enjoy what is going on. And it's as simple as that. But it is just not like that in Formula 1 whatsoever. So we've got to hope that it changes. In all honesty, I don't think it will change. And yeah, so the state of Formula 1 for Part 2 is pretty poor. Leave in the comments what your thoughts of Formula 1 are at this moment in time. But I hazard a guess that overall consensus is going to be pretty similar amongst everyone. But hey, leave your opinions in the comments section. If you've got any questions, ask them in the comments section, or you can ask me on Ask FM, ask.fm/dernorangutan. A link to that is in the description as well. And a link to the GPDA letter hopefully will be there as well. But nevertheless, it's been a pleasure literally ranting at you guys today. Have a good day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.